and Hardacre. Saints were always going to get back into it, and 14 was never enough. Child's arrogance cost us as their second try was offside, but his ego couldn't deal with Cust asking him to check. I think he probably asked in a bit of a wrong way as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
He then gave us offside like it was going out of fashion, but Marshall capitalised on the mistake to give us the win. Thought Farrell as per was amazing. Bibby with probably his finest game for Wigan. Yeah, he was good. Hurrell was good for them as always. Makinson and Roby did what they always do. It was a huge game. It had a huge game feel, as it should, and it's just a shame that some of their fans, who obviously aren't used to losing, were blaming the loss on young Sim, forgetting how how young some of our players are. New dad Brad on the drum was great, and Pete spoke so well. Yeah, 19 with a kid. That's how you keep him in this country, I think, as long as he stays with his missus. Yeah. That's how Leeds and Saints did it. That was their model, weren't it? Get them having kids and get married young.
No, well, yeah, it makes sense. And I know Roby got kept in this country by his wife, so it is a good tactic. So Neil Ormston, fellow Warrington fan, said, a heartfelt thanks to the players and fans of both teams for fully restoring my faith in the greatest game and providing an absorbing contest that had me and my eldest daughter, who was attending her first neutral match, gripped throughout. Congrats Wigan on a great display, fully deserved. Saints choked again in a big game. Bring on Spurs Stadium in 3 weeks. Can't wait for that now.
No mention of the tweet he sent to me. I think it was maybe even on the day of the game or the day before, about how deluded I was picking Wigan to win. No mention of that, Neil. St David said, sigh, you can't offer up possession so many times and hope to win a big game. Wigan were ruthless in exploiting our errors and deserved to win because of it. Much better second half, but gave ourselves too much to do. No double-double for Saints. At least I can head to Paris without worrying about how to watch the final. Oh yeah, good point. I need to talk to David. He's not going to be watching the final. He's not even going to be in the country. I probably need to change who's co-hosting the show after the final now, don't we?
Yeah. Tom Andrews said, great semi-final, Wigan cruising followed by a comeback and some late drama. Something tells me Mark enjoyed that fast try too.
Yeah. Did you? I told him at half time when I was speaking to him.
Right, okay.
I think I nearly fell over the woman in front of me jumping out of my seat that much.
It's incredible how he scores those kind of tries. That it's a very similar slippery kind of try that he scored against us.
Yeah.
But obviously Saints have got a better defence than us, and he still, because he's so pasty. I wonder if he actually is a ghost. Is it like? It's like it just people just can't get a hand on him at all. Because that's cheating if
he's
he
not
is.
a ghost, he's a god. But White Pie said, never in doubt. And if you believe that, I have some magic beads you can buy. Wigan were ruthless in the first half, but let Saints into the game after half time. Why Charles didn't send the second Saints try up is baffling, as three Saints, including Makinson, were in front of Lomax. Wigan showed what Saints fans say, they're just pace and nothing else to win, with a length of field effort from Marshall. See you in N17 on the 28th. We did get a late one in that I'll have to get up in front of me. Bear with me 1 second. EFC78JU said, thank God the scumbags of St Helens are out, as it was the Liam Marshall show out there at Ellen Road, as he started it and finished it in the derby clash. Brilliant to see them nilled in the first half, but they got lucky to come back and lead only for the one time during the second half, just for Wigan to retake the lead and go up to Spurs to face Huddersfield. Thank you, Wigan Warriors, from the Balmy Army. So there you go. What you're here to rein me in with your neutral take, but did you enjoy that one?
I did. It was a really exciting game. I mean, I was very surprised in the first half performance, because as has been said, I think a few times, it didn't look like Saints were in it that much. They had their chances, but they weren't taking them. They were and Wigan were clinical. I thought Smith's in-game kicking was superb. It didn't turn out to be the best in-game kicking game of the day, as it turned out, because the Farge in the next game were probably pipped it, but just the way he was finding the grass, the sort of wobbly bombs he was putting up, they were difficult to take, going in the right. It was great, and putting Saints under pressure. Sim, obviously a young lad, he made a couple of mistakes, and you punished him for it.
That first kick though, that Harry Smith put up after the first minute of the game. The way that came down, that was so hard to catch.
Oh God, yeah,
almost impossible. Yeah. It really did torpedo down. It came down faster than it went up.
Yeah.
And like the trajectory, it was hard to catch. Yeah. What was great for me though is Wigan managed to score off that. You know. Unlike Good Friday where they bombed the chance on the first attack of the game, they actually scored this one, which was fantastic. Saints took a while to get used to what they were doing to protect Lomax, wasn't it? Putting him at full-back in defence and then in his normal position in attack, but the switch in between, Wellesby defending out of where he's been used to defending, and Lomax having to get into position when there was a quick turnover of possession and that sort of thing. That didn't work, that didn't click, that didn't line up in the first half for St Helens. But credit has to be given to Wigan for putting pressure on that. Every time they got a chance to hit Lomax, they hit Lomax. It wasn't dirty, it wasn't nasty stuff, but when they could tackle him, they got to him and tackled him and shut him down.
Yeah.
And you saw that repeatedly actually throughout the game, and that influenced, as much as his injury was influencing it influenced his passes and his execution.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was almost like he wasn't there for large parts of the game, other than maybe a 10-minute spell in the second half when Saints were really good. The sin bin that led to the second try, classic Saints, shall we say?
Yeah. Actually, what was it?
I thought he should have got a second yellow card for how slowly he left the pitch as well.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'd completely forgotten that. I'd forgotten he got sent off.
Yeah.
We got he got was it the second try scored when he was off?
Yeah, Wigan scored on the first set after he went off. Pretty much Wigan scored, and then probably didn't capitalise enough, but took a bit of energy maybe out of Saints during that period. But then the culmination of that probably was the Farrell try. But ironically, I think Batchelor was the person who'd overshot his read the most to make the space for Farrell anyway. So his rest didn't do him any good. Maybe he was trying too hard to make amends, I'm not sure. But what Wigan did at least twice in that first half was pull Saints' defensive line way out of shape more than you normally see it. Close to their line as well, you know, within 20 or 30 metres of their line, where they're normally so strong and so good at getting that, scrambling for that tackle, then giving away that 6 again so they get the line set. Wigan weren't giving him that chance to give away that 6 again to get the line set because they were breaking the line.
Yeah. And Walmsley, for me, wasn't running over anybody. He I don't know what his meter stats were.
No, we didn't get the stats for this one, do we?
But he didn't seem to be making any meters. He seemed like he wasn't breaking the line as I was expecting him to break the line. He wasn't dominating like I was expecting him to, and they couldn't get a roll on the back of it as well.
No, he wasn't getting the carries in the right times in sets. I don't think, like, it wasn't your typical Makinson run, Percival run, Walmsley run, someone else run, Walmsley run. You're in their 20 and doing a kick. That didn't happen until the second half, and actually, ironically, when Walmsley was off. But Wigan went in 14-0. I was loving it. I thought it was as good a half as I could have possibly imagined. I was flying high. And all I thought is, set for 5 minutes in this second half, settle it down. Eventually, we should get a penalty or something, and do you know what I mean? And keep edging it up. But didn't happen like that. 5 or so minutes into the second half, Saints actually started to play. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they had to, didn't they? Hurrell had bombed a chance in the first half. There was my side of the stadium where he'd been tackled by Field.
Yeah, all he can do is run.
Yeah.
All he can do is run.
but I mean, it was a great tackle, but there was no excuse, I don't think, for Hurrell to have dropped that ball there. He could have kept hold of it, but yeah, and he'd flown out the line as well for one of Wigan's tries as well, and in the first half.
Yeah,
well. So
he'd gone crazy for the first try, weren't it? Where Bibby then went round Wellesby.
Yeah, But this was a great try, sort of powerful and showed what he can do and slam it down.
Yeah, stoppable. I thought 4 of them were around him, and he's not that good. He does drop the ball, but he scored it. And what happened then, I thought, was crucial in the way that part of the game planned out. I thought Wigan then at that goal kick needed to take off Smithies and O'Neill, who I think had been fantastic in the first half. Give them a breather. They needed that breather then, because they'd played 50 minutes or whatever it was up to that point, and we didn't take them off until after the next try was scored, which was the next set. Saints got an offload, didn't they, from the kick-off, made basically made 80 metres on the set, and then Johnny Lomax made 80 metres on the set. The 3 players outside him made 80.5 metres on the set. but the try stood, and fair enough.
Yeah, that happens from time to time, and you know, it didn't matter in the end. But
what do you make of that? Because my feelings on it at the time, now and always with this kind of decision is, it looks from certain angles that all 3 of them are offside. It looks from certain angles that maybe one of them was offside. It's not perfect to tell. I do think I am surprised it wasn't checked, but at the same time, Kate Cust lost his head a little bit. Not just then, but for 5 minutes after that, and him and Bateman losing the head led to the next try for me. Yeah. But he should have checked it, but I don't think it would have been able to come down against the live call, because there was no angle in line with it to say absolutely definitely that ball wasn't over the line when he kicked it. It looked like it wasn't over the line when he kicked it, but you couldn't say for certain it wasn't, because it was off the floor, whereas the feet were on the floor of the other players. Do you know what I mean?
No, like you say, it's, if it had gone up as a try, which it would have done, then it would have been difficult to overturn it. But it was offside. You can see that it is. I
wouldn't have felt as filthy about that one as I still feel about the Tony Clubb one in the 2017 Challenge Cup final, when it should have been given as a penalty try or something. But anyway, so that happened. Roby then did what Cunningham had done in the game before, didn't it? It showed their leadership qualities, take it on their own shoulders, score a try. Wigan will be filthy with themselves a bit on the defence on that one, but that's just James Roby being more determined and committed than Wigan, which, not for the rest of the game, Wigan were the more determined and committed side, weren't they?
But for me at that point, though, nobody was winning that game but Saints. At that moment, like, obviously I'd sat in that corner with all those Saints fans going absolutely crazy, and that, you know, them have pulled that back, and you could see how despondent the Wigan lads were, and they'd just been dominated for like 15 minutes or something, and I just felt like the Saints were going to go on, and it didn't. That's not what came to pass.
No, and I just want to get the timings of it all right, because it sort of felt like, Saints had gone ahead. I still didn't think they were the better team. They were only the better team for like 15 minutes or so in the game.
Yeah,
but I do think it's settled back into a pattern at that point. My worry at that point is I couldn't see how Wigan were going to score, because Wigan kept getting penalised. So every time they put pressure on Saints, they then release that pressure. I didn't think Saints were going to score again either, because I thought Wigan had got their composure back.
Yeah.
After that third try, I think they'd realised, you know, and they'd switched back into being composed. But James Charles kept blowing them for offside.
But I thought,
I'm not saying they weren't offside, by the way. I can't see from where I was. I'm not criticising. I'm just saying that's what happened. And so I never felt like we were getting the field position. But I thought the only way we could score, or would score, is through either Field, Marshall, or French making a long chunk out of the field with their pace, getting away from someone, and then either that being the try or off the back of that. And that ultimately is what happened. Lomax got pressure put on him. He couldn't deliver a good pass because of that pressure, combined with his injury, etc. And there was other players just not in the right positions as well, to an extent. It just was all poor from Saints in attacking structure-wise, because Wigan were back putting the pressure on, back composed. Marshall did incredibly well to get in front of Makinson to get that ball and then accelerate away. It well off a Saints mistake, but you got to credit how quickly Wigan saw that opportunity, jumped on that opportunity, and took that try. And from that point, I was anxious, don't get me wrong, there was 10 minutes left, but I never felt like they were going to score.
No, and I don't
unless we did something wrong, and I didn't think we were going to give it to them.
You've got that sort of sense of Saints in a semi again that we saw a few years ago, where they've never been for a few years, where they've been so imperious and you know, never write off the Saints kind of attitude that they've had recently, but in that last 10 minutes they felt more like that, the
2018 Saints than the
20. We can't win this one, and that's what happened.
Yep, and I was absolutely delighted. I was still buzzing the next morning. I was still grinning all the next day. I carried that one through for a good day and a half or so before I had to go back to work. Right, any other notes on that one?
No.